Green plants are autotrophs. This means that they use simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nitrates to manufacture complex organic compounds like glucose and sucrose. To do this, plants must have the following inorganic ions: potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, magnesium, calcium and iron. These, together with gases such as carbon dioxide, hydrogen and oxygen, are called the essential or major elements. In addition, there are other elements needed in small amounts, such as boron, molybdenum and copper. These are called trace elements. Plants get carbon dioxide from the air, but obtain all their nutrients from the soil. Sachs and Knop. Much of the important work on plant nutrition was performed in Germany in the 1800s by two scientists called Sachs and Knop. The experiments they pioneered are called water culture experiments. Sachs and Knop devised mixtures of mineral salts which, when dissolved in water, provided all the elements needed for healthy growth in plants. What they were able to do was omit certain minerals and observe the effect this had on the plants. Water culture or hydroponics experiments. A full Sachs culture solution contains all the minerals a plant needs for healthy growth. For example, calcium phosphate produces calcium and phosphorus. Magnesium sulfate produces magnesium and sulfur. Plants absorb these nutrients through their roots. The plant shown here was grown with all the major elements and has healthy green leaves and good root development. Phosphorus deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth when the culture is lacking in phosphorus. Plants lacking phosphorus show poor overall development. Their leaves are dull in color with brown edges. This indicates poor chlorophyll production. Poor growth of the roots is also noticeable. Phosphorus is important for the synthesis of nucleic acids and proteins. Calcium deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth of a culture lacking calcium. Plants lacking calcium show extremely stunted growth. Calcium forms calcium pectate in the middle lamella. The middle lamella is a cementing layer between cell walls. Without it, cells cannot enlarge. Sulfur deficiency. The following experiment shows the plants lacking sulfur have pale green or yellow leaves. This is due to poor chlorophyll production, called chlorosis. Overall development is slow and straggly. Sulfur is important for the production of proteins and chlorophyll. Nitrogen deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth of a culture lacking nitrogen. Plants lacking nitrogen suffer from chlorosis and poor overall development. Nitrogen is essential for protein and chlorophyll synthesis. Iron deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth of a culture lacking iron. Plants lacking iron show chlorosis and poor overall growth. Iron is essential for normal photosynthesis and respiration. Magnesium deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth of a culture lacking magnesium. Plants lacking magnesium show chlorosis and straggly overall growth. Magnesium is an important constituent of chlorophyll. Additionally, it is essential for normal enzyme activity. Potassium deficiency. The following experiment shows the effect on plant growth of a culture lacking potassium. Plants lacking potassium have brown and yellow mottled leaves and tend to die prematurely. Potassium is essential for the synthesis of protein and chlorophyll. Farming and nutrients. In natural situations, for example a forest, plants eventually die and decompose. The nutrients they contain are then returned to the soil. In farming, however, the crop is removed, taking the nutrients with it. Eventually this results in the soil becoming depleted of nutrients. Farmers can replace nutrients lost in this way by applying fertilizers to their fields. The effects of fertilizers. The Rothamsted Experimental Research Station in England has been running a long-term experiment on the effects of fertilizers. In 1843, a plot of land called the Broad Balk Field was divided into strips. Wheat has been grown and harvested on them ever since. One strip has not been treated with any fertilizers, but the other strips have. The average yearly yield for some of the strips is shown below. Study the histogram. Now calculate the yield for plots A to E as a percentage increase over the yield of plot F. Fertilizers. The results from the Broad Balk Field experiment show that inorganic fertilizers are only slightly better than farmyard manure at increasing crop yield. Years ago, when the human population was much smaller, farms could grow a variety of crops and keep livestock. This is called mixed farming. The farmer could rotate crops, leave fields fallow, and fertilize with farmyard manure. Now the population is increasing rapidly, and to supply it with food, intensive farming methods are required. This involves farms specializing in one crop, for example wheat or peas. This type of farming is called monoculture. Animals are farmed intensively in special units, making mixed farming very rare. Monoculture relies heavily on the use of inorganic fertilizers. Inorganic and organic fertilizers. Study the table to discover the advantages and disadvantages of different fertilizers.